the investigation is now expanding, with Latur emerging as a key link in the probe. CBI teams continue to camp in Latur, where students, parents as well as coaching institute operators are being questioned as investigators try to piece together how the alleged network operated on the ground. Sources say individuals linked to prominent coaching centers have also been questioned. Investigators suspect that accused PV Kulkarni and co-accused Manisha built a well-organized network that allegedly targeted students across Maharashtra. Let's also understand how Kingpin Kulkarni really operated on the basis of the information that we have learned from our sources. PV Kulkarni was a paper setter. He was part of the NTA panel. Now, this is very, very important, and let's also tell you a little bit about how he operated. Step one, seminars were used for outreach. Students were identified and then contacted. Engineering students acted as agents. Now, this is clearly, information on who is Kingpin Kulkarni, but let's also explain to you how he really operated. And, the steps are very, very important, what we have learned from sources. Agents were connected with aspirants. Mock test performance was then analyzed. Students were identified after the mock test, and rich students, were specifically considered. High-value rich students were specifically considered. Payments were also demanded from students. Payments ranged from 25 lakh to 25,000 to 25 lakh rupees. Now, this is the chain of leak that we have, been able to establish so far. So you've got Manisha, who reportedly passed on the question paper, and then you've got Dhananjay Lokhande. You've got Dhananjay, who passed on the paper, in fact, to Shubham Khairnar. He sent the paper via PDF. Then Shubham Khairnar, who was arrested on day one itself, forwarded the paper to Yash Yadav, and Yash Yadav, in fact, is linked to further deals. Now, this is something that's also being investigated right now. More breaking inputs coming in. Central Bureau of Investigation has identified another mastermind who was source for leak of NEET UG examination biology questions, and this person's name is Manisha Gurunath Mandhare. CBI, in fact, has issued a statement now. Senior botany teacher from Pune who has been arrested from Delhi after thorough investigation by the Central Bureau of Investigation. Let's go across to my colleague Bhavtosh, joining us live for more on this. Bhavtosh, we were discussing exactly this, but now CBI has issued a statement too.
Yes, in fact, the statement mentions that she was also, in fact, roped in by Manisha Wagmare. In fact, she is also turning out to be one of the masterminds, or at least she was part of the inner circle as to how Manisha Wagmare, a beautician, got in touch with various students. Now, the racket was completely being run from PV Kulkarni's house. From his residence, this coaching center was being run. As far as PV Kulkarni is concerned, he spent nearly 25 to 30 years in a coaching institute and then retired from Latur and shifted to his hometown in Pune. From Pune, he was teaching students. He claimed that he was teaching coaching, giving students coaching in chemistry. But from his residence, these exam papers were being leaked. The question is for how long this was happening, and there are several loopholes as far as NTA is also concerned. Why they roped in these kinds of teachers, whether they did any kind of background checks, because this was going on for a long time if one believes CBI, because CBI said that around 2 to 5 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees were being taken by these teachers, and continuously this leak was happening. Importantly, Hina, the fact remains that these teachers had in fact got the question paper at least a month in advance, and they in fact have access to all the questions, at least 100 to 200, sometimes even more such questions. They had access. Maybe they have leaked a question paper of even previous years.
Right. Thank you very much, Bhavtosh. Appreciate you joining us with your inputs on this story. So a lot of developments are taking place as far as the NEET paper leak case is concerned. And simultaneously, viewers, anger is mounting over this entire matter. NSUI workers staged a protest outside the NTA office demanding strictest possible action over the exam paper leak. Protesters gathered outside the NTA headquarters, raising slogans and demanding accountability. Clashes were also reported between protesters and police personnel on the ground. Meanwhile, United Doctors Front has moved the Supreme Court over systemic failure in conducting the NEET exam by NTA, National Testing Agency. In fact, it wants NTA dissolved, and it wants the creation of a new statutory national testing body through legislation with stronger legal powers, transparency norms, and direct accountability to Parliament. Listen in.
Protesters from the Indian Youth Congress today staged a protest against Dharmendra Pradhan, the Education Minister, over the continuing controversy of the NEET. Remember, yesterday, re-NEET dates have been announced on your screen. Also, you can see how these workers have been put into the detention bus of Delhi police. They're currently shoving them inside these buses. And in fact, the protest is being wrapped up by the Delhi police. On your screens also, there is in fact money, fake money that has been thrown all over. In fact, this is a new form of protest that we are witnessing. They say that the NTA, the National Testing Agency, is completely bought and thrown, corrupt body by the Education Ministry, is not in fact under any sort of compliances as well. On your screens right now, all these protesters in fact being detained, carried away. They're throwing money over there, they're throwing that fake currency also over here. A parallel protest taking place in fact at the NTA head office in Okhla. That is where the NSUI, the student wing of the Congress party, is also currently in fact protesting. All around us in fact you can see the heavy police deployment that has been stationed here for the protest. Another woman being in fact taken by the police officials there. On the other hand, the Education Minister as well as the NTA has assured of a better performance as well as a more leak-proof attempt on the re-NEET that is scheduled to take place next month.
नीट परीक्षा रद्द होने के बाद प्रदर्शनों का दौर लगातार जारी है। देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों में लगातार प्रदर्शन देखने को मिल रहे हैं। इस मुद्दे पर सरकार को घेरने के लिए चाहे राजनीतिक संगठन हो या छात्र संगठन, वो लगातार प्रदर्शन करते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं। इस वक्त एनएसवाई बड़ी संख्या में जो है वो एनटीए दफ्तर के बाहर पहुंची है और यहाँ पर आप देखिए किस तरीके से जो एनएसवाई के जो छात्र हैं वो बैरिकेड पर चढ़ गए। उनका कहना था कि आज वो यहाँ पर नीट स्टूडेंट्स को लेकर आएंगे और एक बड़ा प्रदर्शन करेंगे। हालांकि एनएसवाई के छात्र ज्यादा इस प्रदर्शन के अंदर नजर आ रहे हैं और बड़ी संख्या में जो प्रदर्शनकारी हैं वो यहाँ पहुंचे हैं। पुलिस ने अपना पूरा एक अरेंजमेंट जो है वो यहाँ पे लगा रखा है। मल्टीपल जो बैरिकेडिंग्स है वो यहाँ पे लगा रखे हैं। उनका कहना है कि एनएसआईसी जो परिसर है जिसमें एनटीए का दफ्तर है वहाँ पे किसी को एंटर नहीं करने दिया जाएगा, क्योंकि पिछले दिनों जो प्रदर्शन हुए, चाहे एबीवीपी का प्रदर्शन था, एनएसआई का प्रदर्शन था, प्रदर्शनकारी अंदर तक पहुंच गए थे। लेकिन इस वक्त जो प्रदर्शनकारी उनको गेट पे ही रोका गया। बड़ी संख्या में रैपिड एक्शन फोर्स हो या दिल्ली पुलिस, उनकी टीम को तैनात किया गया। ड्रोन कैमरे से लगातार निगरानी की जा रही है प्रदर्शनकारियों की, तो किसी को अंदर जाने की इजाजत नहीं दी जा रही है और बड़ी संख्या में यहाँ पर पुलिस बल को पहले से तैनात किया गया है। तो फिलहाल यहाँ पर जो प्रदर्शनकारी है वो बड़ी संख्या में यहाँ पहुंचे हैं। उनका कहना था, एनएसआई की तरफ से जो प्रदर्शन कॉल हुआ था, इनका कहना था नीट के स्टूडेंट्स को जो है वो यहाँ पर लेकर आएंगे। करीब 400-500 स्टूडेंट्स को लेकर आएंगे और यहाँ पे एक बड़ा प्रदर्शन करेंगे एनटीए के बाहर। लगातार एनटीए को रद्द करने की बात की जा रही है। हालांकि नीट परीक्षा दोबारा होने की जो तिथि है वो एनटीए की तरफ से दी गई है। कल खुद शिक्षा मंत्री सामने आए जिसमें एनटीए के डीजी भी थे और उन्होंने एक नई तारीख दी है जिस दिन जो है वो नीट की दोबारा परीक्षा की जाएगी। कुछ परीक्षा के अंदर चेंजेस भी किए जा रहे हैं, लेकिन उसके बावजूद जो विरोध प्रदर्शन है वो खत्म होने का नाम नहीं ले रहा। और अभी भी आप देखिए जो प्रदर्शनकारी है किस तरीके से बैरिकेड पे चढ़े हुए हैं और एक बड़ा प्रदर्शन जो है वो एनटीए दफ्तर के बाहर होता हुआ नजर आ रहा है। लेकिन पुलिस बल भी पहले से तैनात था। पुलिस ने बैरिकेड पे चढ़कर जो प्रदर्शनकारी है उनको नीचे खदेड़ना शुरू कर दिया है और एक एक कर प्रदर्शनकारियों को